Welcome to the business or graduate seminar in business policy, or as I prefer to call it, the strategy class. My name is Jeff Stanbaugh. I have the privilege of being your instructor for this course. And what I'd like to do through a series of videos is introduce you quickly to me, to the topic, and then to the course and the assignments that you'll need to complete as a part of the course. So let me start off with the least interesting topic of all, which is me. I like to say I graduated a million years ago from the U.S. Air Force Academy. It was actually in 1981. That was one step on my life stream. When I was still a little boy, I figured out that I wanted to be a fighter pilot in the Air Force, and that the best way to do that was to go to the Air Force Academy, and that's pretty much what I did. As I said, I graduated in 1981 with a degree in aeronautical engineering and embarked on a 24-year career as an Air Force fighter pilot. Loved it. And through the process of that career, I learned two things, or I should say I deeply instilled two things. One, I found out that I really did love to fly as much as I thought I would. And the second is that I loved to lead things. So the idea of running organizations and being in charge and responsible and leading towards goals and the like is something that I fell in love with. And that's what I had the privilege of doing in my Air Force career. Obviously started out small, and then by the time I retired from the Air Force, I'd been the #2 guy at an Air Force base where I had about 4,000 people that worked on the base on a daily basis. So I had a chance to practice some of the strategic management issues that we're going to talk about in that class. So it was 2005 when I retired from the Air Force, and obviously, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And so, to be honest with you, I would have loved to have pursued either an executive track position in a major aerospace corporation, or I would have liked to have started my own aviation company. Why didn't I? Well, at that point, my kids were still pretty young. And the reason we were retiring from the Air Force is because our life had been on a treadmill as I'd gone up in responsibilities, and we just decided we wanted to slow our life down. I'll tell you a little bit more later about how I set upon this university gig, but when I retired from the Air Force, I went to Texas Tech and earned my PhD in management with an emphasis in strategy and entrepreneurship. Came here to Midwestern State in 2008 and been here ever since. Initially, I ran the Entrepreneurship Center for the first 7 years. Fantastic job and opportunity. That's given me the chance to work with lots of startups, invest in startups. I sit on the board of an investment company that owns a turnaround company. And so that's given me a lot of very real world business examples that I can fill in some of the gaps with a textbook. And then a couple of years ago, we were trying to start an energy center. I like to learn new things. So I said, well, what would you think about me moving over and starting the energy center and learning about energy? And they said, okay. And so that's what I've been doing. And that too is a fascinating industry that I have thoroughly enjoyed learning about. What about Jeff outside of work? I'm married to a wonderful wife of 30 years. If in any of the videos I make a quip about my wife, you need to understand I have a wonderful wife and I'm simply making a joke. My son Ben is now 20 and my daughter Anna is 16. Kind of scary to me they're that old, but that's the way it goes. And outside of work, I still love to fly. I'm the part owner of a 1965 Piper Cherokee 180. At one point, I ran a small flight school on the side and gave lessons in the airplane. I still can give lessons, but we don't have the business insurance policy on the airplane anymore, so I don't really do that very much. And I try to spend a lot of time improving my walk with the Lord and helping other people improve their walk with the Lord. So not much more to say about that. But let me tell you, close with you with a story about how I got into this university gig, and that'll give you a sense of how I feel about this course. When I was debating what to do after the Air Force, I had researched a lot about being a university professor, and I'd actually gone to several universities on a swing around the country to interview for their PhD positions. And I have to tell you, I was very much on the fence about doing this. There are some things I really like about it, namely the opportunity to work with students, and there are some things I don't like about it, which is the separation from the real world, which is why I've always pursued jobs in university where I got to keep one foot in the real world, working as much as I could with them, as well as 1 foot in the academic world. And so I was very much on the fence about what I was going to do. At that time, I was stationed in Japan, so I'm literally flying on an airplane back to Japan. So that's about a 10-hour flight probably. So I had lots of time to think about what I wanted to do. And in one of these visits to the universities, I'd picked up a copy of a strategic management textbook, one of the very types of textbooks we use in this class. And as I'm flying back, I'm flipping through this material and skimming it, and I realized I love this material. And not just do I love this material, I've done some of it in the Air Force, obviously some of the specific business applications I hadn't done in the Air Force. But I knew that if I had known the stuff that was talked about in that textbook when I was in my 20s, things would have gone a lot better for me in my 30s and 40s. And so that put a fire in me to teach these sorts of strategic management concepts to young people so that they could get the benefit in their professional and personal life to really step out and do amazing things. And so, excuse me, as I approach this course, not only do I like the material, I'm very passionate about what a difference it can make in your life. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't love the online format because some of the rich interaction that we can have with one another and some of my opportunities to influence you are muted somewhat through the electronic interaction. We'll do the best we can to get around that. But the main thing you should know stepping out is that I really believe in this course and the ideas that it teaches. Well, the next video is going to tell you, use my little football metaphor for telling you about why I think strategy is so interesting in the basic concepts of what we're going to talk about in the class. View that one next.